Good afternoon, people. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the F1 Grand Prix, the Italian Grand Prix preview, the Emiliana Romana Grand Prix. We're going to talk about the race for this weekend. But King, hope you're well. Let's get started. I mean, us Ferrari fans, not happy. I've got my Italian shirt on, but that's not enough to, talk about this weekend, anyways. But hope you're well.
Yeah, I'm good. This has been a difficult weekend for Ferrari. I think they've had brake
Very,
issues, all sorts
very.
of issues this weekend so far. The good thing is it's only 11th and 12th, so it isn't too bad. It could have been a lot worse. Um, Going into the qualifying,
They'll finish top half.
expect them to. I didn't expect them to get to Q3, and also it was surprising to see the Aston Martins get some speed out of nowhere as well. So, but
Mm.
yeah, we'll talk about that and more and see what will happen in the Italian race. But it's a shame that in Italy, yeah, they're not up to scruff. They're not, competing for a win.
But yeah, I mean, let's get started. But people, if you're on your way in, please make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to King's channel first, then my channel, because like I said, I always prioritize my guests before I prioritize myself. So subscribe to King, then subscribe to me. What's your next milestone? Are you close to 20 subs, or have you passed 20 subs already?
No, I don't know what I'm on at the moment.
Guys, what I don't know what you're doing. Please head over to King's channel and sub. And, like, he does shows every single week. He does. Oh, if you're interested in wrestling, WWE, please make sure you sub to his channel. But anyways, let's get started. Where should we start? Do you want to talk about Ferrari first, and get it out of the way, or do you want to talk about McLaren and Verstappen getting close to the podium?
I think we should start from the beginning because obviously, Sonoda had that big crash and
Yeah, 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 yeah. We'll talk about Tsunoda, man. Let's talk about Tsunoda, man. That was hella scary.
yeah, it
That was
was.
that was life saving, bro. That halo was a lifesaver.
Mm,
Literally a lifesaver, bro. Honestly, like for real, that could have been a lot worse than it looked. Could have been a lot worse. I don't know how he managed to come out of this car standing still, no injuries whatsoever. When I opened the stream, right, I saw the ambulance. I'm like, what's going on with Tsunoda? And I'm like, is he good? His car was in P. I didn't even see the highlights up until just showed me the replay. And I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck actually happened? He actually his car flipped and
yeah,
collided with the gravel, bro, or the ground. But listen, just thank God he's okay, man. Honestly, really and truly, that thank God he's okay. It could have been a lot worse.
yeah, yeah. It was. It kind of tells you, when something like that happens, it kind of shows you the immortality of these F1 drivers and the possibility that when they get into those cars, they're risking their lives. And it's thankful that the Halo did save him because that car did a 360 flip, and it's shocking to see. It's shocking to see he,
Yeah,
he got out of it in one piece, and um, yeah, it's just a shame because I think up until that point, he was on for a decent position, especially if he got into Q3 as well. But those things happen. You become a passenger at that point when the car starts to hit the gravel and starts moving. So thankfully,
oh my
everything
god,
okay with that one. And then also Colapinto as well. Obviously, first race as an Alpine driver to crash it out as well. It's a shame. Because when you see those things, you're like, you don't want it. You just want the positions to be based on pure pace, and when two guys like that crush out, yeah, it is something that is sad to see.
with this like you make a really good point about F1. Like a lot of these drivers are risking their lives to race for pure entertainment. Like a lot of people are risking their lives on a daily basis. So it's always, whenever you see them, it's always a good way to say thank you for giving us something to look up to look out for, and to watch. To be entertained by, to thank them for a race, because if it was not for them, right? A lot of F1 racers, right? A lot of people who love F1, solely F1, what would they do on a weekend? What are they gonna do? They love the sport, so like I said, it's good that they're it's good that he's okay. It's good that Yuki Tsunoda is okay. But yeah, no, man, these drivers are risking their lives for all of us, man. Honestly, for just pure for our entertainment, you know. So, like I said, always be thankful for drivers after a race, and always give them their props, even if they've had a bad race. Because being in an F1 car is not as easy as people think. People might think, oh, it's just driving. It's not actually just driving, because when something happens, something actually happens. Like when something serious happens, like we've seen it many times before. Mick Schumacher got away with it, you know. So like I say, it is what it is. It happens, but look, glad he's okay, and let's and hopefully he is racing. He's racing on weekend, right? He's gonna race right on Sunday, or is he not gonna race?
Should be. They should have enough time to be able to fix the car. But be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if it does. But they should have enough time because they'll probably be working overnight to get it race ready. But he probably is gonna start from the back and probably is gonna take some penalties. So he's start from the back regardless. So they may have to replace some pieces. It will be an issue maybe down the line because he's probably going to have more penalties down the line because he's going to have to use extra components. Because when the crash like that happens, it kind of writes off a lot of the pieces of the car.
I didn't really see what happened to Carlo Pinto though. Can you kind of give me a bit of an insight of what happened exactly? I didn't exactly see what happened to Carlo Pinto's car.
It
happened at the end of Q1, didn't it?
No, it was at the start of Q2, so it was just like he was going through and then he just crashed into the barrier. I just think he overdid it. I think obviously for him it's like as I said, it's his first F1 race with a different car. Obviously, he's been in the sport like last year. He had a couple races, but it's difficult when you're a new driver getting used to a car.
Yeah,
and just a little bit of twitch and boom, you hit the wall, especially in a track like Imola. So that's what really happened. He was good. He had a good start. He got into Q2, but he just couldn't get any further because the crash was early on, and there was a lot of this qualifying was a lot of stoppages. So it was a very stop start Formula One qualifying session. In all honesty,
well, it's good. Hope you're well, PY, and shout out my guy Austin as well. Hope you guys are well. But in terms of just the qualifying as a whole, I mean, let's look at the where should we start? Oscar Piastri, once again. I mean, getting P1 again.
Let's actually talk about our two drivers that got knocked out.
Terrible breaks, man. That's all I could say. Terrible breaks. They couldn't. The thing is, right? Whenever all the drivers that I've watched this weekend, like I said, the grip is so bad. I've seen so many drivers struggle down the turns. I think it was like in turn 3 or 4. I think it was one of them where I think even George Russell almost got his time deleted in one of the races because he couldn't control the how's it called? He couldn't control his turn. Like his front wing didn't look like the best, and the brakes are gonna be overused this weekend because these turns are very, very, very like tough to get over because you'll see a lot of drivers in the gravel. There might be a lot of penalties this weekend. I'll be honest with you. There might be a lot of penalties this weekend. There might be like a 5-second penalty for a few drivers. I think that's what's going to happen. But just in terms of just like, Ferrari, right? The brakes have been terrible, hasn't it, King? The brakes have just been awful. Like I just look at it was the final lap that Ferrari couldn't get over. They were just 2 places away from qualifying for Q3. But at least, like you said, it was not as bad. It wasn't as bad. It's not as like P15, P16. It was P11, P12. They can still get into the top 10 and still get in the points, but I don't see him having a good race still because the brake's going to be something, or they might make an upgrade going to tomorrow, and they might take a penalty. Who knows? They might do it just for the sake of it. They might but I want your thoughts.
I think they got it right towards the end of qualifying in terms of thing, but I think they just they adjusted too late. It was too late at that point. I feel
Mm.
like they made the wrong decisions in terms of coming out for qualifying and allowed for other teams to be able to pit them when it comes to time. Because in qualifying, you want to be the last out. You want to give yourself the last second so that the track is at its quickest in order for you to give the best time. And with the issues that they've been having with brakes, I just think the team didn't do enough for them to get within to that window for them to be the best they can be. And this is the issue that Ferrari has had throughout the season, is that we've struggled getting soft tires into the right window for them to get the best lap time out of the car. And with the brake problems in in practice, with the issues that they had in qualifying, I feel like this is the best they probably would have got. Obviously, there's outliers to this. You've seen Aston Martin bring out some crazy pace that I wasn't really expecting. So those are the two places that got swapped pretty much. Our two places got taken over by Aston Martin. And it's just a shame that it's happening in this race. And hopefully this race is a
William,
wake-up call to Ferrari for them to actually bring some upgrades to the car, because it's not good enough. It's not good enough for your home race to be 11th and 12th on the
I
grid.
agree, bro. Ferrari have 2 home races every single year, in Imola and Emiliana Romagna. These 2 races, yeah, are the 2 races that are Ferrari's pretty much their race, and we've seen it with in Japan, I think Yuki struggled a bit. I think we've seen it in China with sorry, not Zhao Guan Yu. Who was the other one that struggled in their home race this year?
I think in Australia it was what's his name? Jack Doohan struggled in Australia.
Right, yeah, Jack Doohan, yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, you've seen drivers go home and struggle, but when they're racing off the outside, they seem like they're doing a lot better than at home, because there's more pressure to actually do well at home than there is to do outside. Because at home you're expected to be, you have to be on top, you have to be on top of your game, to be perfect, because you're racing in front of your home fans, you're racing in your home ground. Because basically this is Ferrari's home ground. This is their court. But I don't see why, like this year is Ferrari going to do anything this year. I don't see why. I don't see what they're going to do now. I don't see a reason why Ferrari should even be competing this year anymore. At this rate, you might as well just fold the season, because, bro, it's how many? This is 6-7 races in already, and I have not seen a sign of improvement one bit. So I think what they should do. I think come next race, just take a hit and improve your car. Just take the grid penalty and improve your car. Start P20. Both cars start P at P19, P20 at the bottom. Doesn't matter who. Literally start wherever. I genuinely couldn't care less where they start next week, because you know what it is. At this rate, you might as well just take the hit. Like I said, you just take the hit now, because I've not seen a sign of improvement. I've seen Ferrari make upgrades. We've seen news that Ferrari made upgrades week in, week out. They've made upgrades to the car. They made upgrades to the engine. They've made upgrades to, obviously, the package that they brought in. But I've not seen a sign of improvement. Like, there was only a couple of races where I thought, okay, Ferrari are looking a lot better now. They're finishing near the podium. They're competing, but still, they're not faster than other cars. Bro, the Williams are faster than Ferrari. Carlos Sainz has left Ferrari to the Williams, and look at the Williams. They're doing a lot better than Ferrari this year. It's crazy to even think about that. I wouldn't be surprised if Ferrari finished below Kick Sauber now at this rate. That's how funny it is. Genuinely, Ferrari could be overtaken by any car at the bottom. And I ain't even joking. They look really, really, really slow. And next weekend, take the hit. Like I said, improve your car. Don't bother with the places next weekend. You're not going to get the championship. You're not going to get drivers' championship. You might as well just finish mid-table in the constructors' championship, and just take the hit going to next season. Just improve your car. This might be the year Ferrari's rebuild. Going to next year, rebuild your car, improve the engines whatsoever. Because Mercedes next year are going to be a lot stronger. I'm hearing Mercedes is going to have the fastest car next year. Don't know how true that is, but even then, it's going to take a lot for Ferrari to do this summer. Not summer, but this off season that's going to come up next year in December. They have a lot of work to do, and come the middle of the year, right? There's another Italian race. By then, how are Ferrari gonna fare? How are they gonna pan out? You know. So like I said, I'm looking at this year and I'm like, okay, this year's Ferrari's year of observation of how are they gonna go? How are they gonna do going forward? Because Lewis Hamilton might not be here for long. Ferrari doing this in the short term. They're not doing this for long term. They're doing this thing for short term purposes. They're doing this. They're doing this for next year. They're planning for next year now. They ain't racing this year. I can tell. And I don't know if you agree with me, but they ain't racing this year. They simply ain't racing this year, bro. They're gonna race next year. And I don't even know how fast they'll be next year. They might just be like making the upgrades now, but come next year, how fast will they be compared to Mercedes, McLaren, other cars? McLaren are way ahead of Ferrari. Bro, last year was so close. Now McLaren are way ahead. It's not even a close battle anymore. McLaren could finish P8, yeah, and Ferrari could finish P2, P3 in qualifiers. McLaren will still overtake Ferrari. They're way faster. They're way faster strategically as well. Like they're much better strategically. They're much better down the pace. Everywhere. I can just pretty much tell you that this is not going to be Ferrari's year, and it's going to be a huge struggle for Ferrari fans. But I want to know your thoughts on what I said and just continue your points, bro.
I agree with some of it. I disagree with some of it. I agree with the fact that Ferrari, I don't think take this season too seriously. Obviously, because there's going to be big changes next year. It is very likely that Mercedes are going to be the better cars because of the way the upgrades are working, and especially when it comes to the engine, benefits Mercedes in terms of they have the best technology out there for those type of engines that they're going to introduce next season. So for me, McLaren, Aston Martin are teams to look out for, especially Aston Martin with Adrian Newey as well. In regards of this season, yeah, McLaren is the quickest car by far. I don't think they are better than Ferrari in strategy. I think the one thing that Ferrari has been great this season in is strategy. I think they've been willing to take risks, willing to do different things in order to get different outcomes, and I like it. For me, McLaren has been terrible because with the fastest car, you expected 1-2s every race, and they haven't done that. They've allowed Verstappen to win a race at one point. They've allowed Lando's not always been the second driver. Even when Oscar Piastri has won a majority of the races, they've made a lot of mistakes, McLaren, in terms of their drivers and team in general. But in terms of today and Italian Grand Prix and what's going to happen, I just think it's one of those things where the issues that Ferrari have had up till this point over this weekend, it was never going to be a good weekend. The moment you have problems in practice, they lead into qualifying. The qualifying, you don't make it to Q3, it's not going to be a good weekend. You get outliers in weekends like this. Aston Martin's pace is an outlier because for most of the season, Aston Martin have been nowhere. They've got some pace this weekend. Maybe they've made upgrades. This is probably the first race where Ferrari haven't actually made any upgrades as well. They haven't brought anything to this race. So that's another issue. So maybe they have one eye on next season, which it looks to be the case. But at the same time, and maybe they've built the car to be ready for next season rather than benefit these seasons' upgrades and technologies, etc. So I feel like they have an eye on next season, and that's making the car not as good. And I think there's potential within the car. They just haven't unlocked it fully yet. And I think you have the two best drivers in Charles and Lewis to be able to unlock the car fully. And once they get to that point down the stretch, maybe you're going to see better results from Ferrari. But in terms of, I'm not too fussed about finishing low in constructors because it means you get more time in the tunnel, more time to look with the aerodynamics, and you're going to need that next season. Next season is going to be a season where you're going to need time to actually look at the car and see what works, what doesn't, and have more time for development. So if we're not winning, we might as well just finish 5th or 6th in constructors and get more time to actually develop next season's car. But for me, this year it's McLaren number 1, Red Bull number 2, Mercedes, and then Ford to whatever, it can be anyone.
Yeah.
But I think the only other thing I would say is that I need to see more from in terms of McLaren, I need to see more from Lando Norris, because I think him finishing P4 in qualifying again, not good enough. And this is the thing that we're gonna talk about in terms of Oscar. He's showing not only that he is in the race, but he's leading the race for the drivers' championship.
Yeah.
He's that guy.
Mm.
And now we got it's been a long enough period of time where we say he's the best driver on the grid this season. He's won the most races, he's been the most dominant, he's getting multiple P1s. He's the number one guy. Second is Max, third is Lando. That's the top
Yeah.
three. Fourth, George. Also unlucky for Kimi. Kimi also didn't make it to Q3 as well, so he had some issues. And that was a bit interesting as well. But yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Oscar, and I have him as my favorite to win the drivers, and McLaren will win the constructors this season. Outside of that, big shout out to Hadjar, top 10 again.
Yeah.
Second best Red Bull driver. Gasly up there as well. The Aston Martin's finally doing something. It's good to see the Aston Martin's doing something as well. So in spite of things, right now in this particular weekend, Ferrari's the sixth best car, I think, in this weekend. It goes McLaren, Red Bull, Mercedes, Williams, Aston Martin, then us. And if we're the sixth best car this weekend, 11th and 12th is probably where we should be. So we're performing to the level of our car.
Before we move on to obviously other the other parts, right? We're gonna talk about obviously quickly about McLaren, and we'll talk briefly on McLaren. We'll talk briefly on Max Verstappen. We'll talk briefly on Mercedes, right? I will say this though. At least the one thing is, right, the one thing I'll be positive about is at least it's not halfway through the season just yet. So Ferrari could still make one massive upgrade. It could change everything. It could change Ferrari's season. Who knows? It could change. It could change the entire season. You just never know what could happen. Still a long season to go. So we're still in single digits in terms of how many races we've gone, how many races we've watched. But in terms of just watching, just basically how many races are left, I think there's more. There's a lot more. There's at least 18 races to go, I think. So
yeah, pretty much
pretty much
a lot of races, a lot of racing. I think it's 24 races. Let me check.
It's 22, I think. I'm not mistaken. I think it's 22 races.
And we're at race 7 or 8?
I think we're at race 6. Just check the schedule.
Let me check. 24 races and we're at race 7. So we're
17 races to go.
So we're just below a third of the way through.
Not even halfway, bro.
Yeah, nowhere near halfway.
Nowhere near. It's exactly what I'm trying to say. It's not, because Ferrari could make one massive change. It could change the entire season around. Last year, we were talking about McLaren, right? McLaren where were they last year?
For the first half of the season, they were nowhere. Second half, they were dominant.
Exactly. Yeah. This is what I'm trying to say, bro. Never, ever, ever count a season out unless you pretty much see that it's done. I don't see a reason why we can. I don't see a reason why we should count the season out just yet, even though all the things I've said pretty much contradicts what I'm about to say right now. Ferrari do not look like the cars that are going to compete this year, but one massive upgrade could literally change everything. It could literally change the whole season around. So, with 17 races to go, in the next 3 races, if I see some progress in Ferrari, if I see more points being added, if I see Ferrari being more competitive in the podium places, there's a chance. There's a chance. But then again, they have to show it. They can't just say it, because Ferrari have been doing a lot of talking. They've not been doing a lot of they've not actually shown it. They've been doing a lot more doing a lot more upgrades. Been doing a lot this and that off the track. They've not been doing things on the track. So make upgrades and actually make themselves look like competitive again. So that's all I gotta say. But you want to say anything more on Ferrari, or do you want to move on to the
No,
McLaren?
I just think it's a car issue, not a drive issue. As I said, we're the sixth fastest, meaning 11th, 12th is where we're meant to be. So if we're the sixth fastest car, 11th, 12th, our drivers are good enough to drive the car to the point where it should be.
Mm.
They are lucky not to make top 10, but you know, it was a very hectic qualifying. This race, we need to have the right strategy in order to maybe turn that 11, 12 to maybe a 6 or 7 or a
Yeah.
7 or 8, and at least get some points from the weekend. We're
Mm.
still a far ahead of Williams in fifth in terms of the constructors. So a bad weekend isn't going to be the end of the world, but it's not good enough.
Yeah, like I said, just take the hit next weekend and make upgrades. That's all I said.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the podium places. So we got Oscar, Lando, and Max, and George Russell just outside. Do you want to give our predictions now? Do you want to talk about the? Do you want to do predictions now, or do you want to just talk about them before? Talk
No,
about
we
the.
could do predictions. I would say this: Lando is P4, a great quality from George as well, P3. Um, yeah, for me, I feel like I need more from Lando. I
Mm,
need more from Lando. I feel like he's let himself down more than anything.
I agree.
You've
Yeah, I
allowed
think.
the younger driver to take over the team, take over the number one spot so far. You need to be doing better because Oscar's showing elite level form. He's competing with Max as well. They're not doing good enough, especially after last season finishing P2. You should have been the one to push on to get this world drivers title, and it's looking like your teammates getting that. So that's all I will say in terms of the top places. As I said, congrats to Aston Martin and Williams for getting both their cars in there. Hadjar, second best Red Bull driver. As well, Gasly doing his thing as well. So yeah, you can see the drivers that are good. Gasly's a good driver. Hadjar's doing his thing. Aston Martin finally got a top two cars in the top 10. So it's going to be interesting if they can put that qualifying result into race pace to see if they actually have it in the race distance. And outside of that, there's not much else really I can say. I just think it's Oscar's race to lose. He has the best car. He's been the best all weekend. He's been dominant so far. So for me, I feel like he's going to be the winner. Second, third is a toss up between three different drivers, and it just depends on what happens, really.
Um, I hear you, but predictions in terms of today, I'm probably gonna say I'm gonna go with Oscar continuing his fine form on top. Then yeah, I agree with you about Lando, bro. Lando needs to turn it up, man. He's been absolutely dreadful, bro, this season in terms of just himself. Like in terms of being the better McLaren driver. He's having a decent season in terms of McLaren as a whole, but as for himself, being the lead McLaren driver, no. He's let Oscar take over what is it called? The shrine, would you say?
Yeah, the he's leading on the points and everything. So
He's allowed Oscar to take over the to take over the throne of being the number one driver. So look at this. I agree that Lando does need to step up, but at the same time, I think he should also allow himself to compete with Oscar with Oscar. Try and compete with Oscar because he's not been competitive enough. I don't think he's been competitive enough. He's not been competitive in terms of like down the final sectors. He's not been competitive in terms of like he's not. I don't remember him getting podium in qualifiers as well this year. I don't remember him getting one podium in qualifier. I remember he's won a couple of races, but Oscar's just taken over, bro. Like Oscar's taken over from the third, fourth race. He's just taken over this whole entire season. So I'm gonna go Oscar one. Toss up between Max and Lando. I'm probably gonna say Max number two. Maybe, just maybe. I think Max might go number two. Then I'll go Lando number 3. And outsider, maybe George Russell. Outsider. Thoughts and predictions?
I agree with your top 3. I'll be honest. That's what I had in my head. It's gonna be Oscar, Max, Lando. George can get third, but I don't know if the cars are going to be quick enough to compete with that with Lando's McLaren over the race distance. In terms of outsiders out of those 4, Alonso would be one interesting to see what that Aston Martin does with him in the car. If he's able to get a good start, maybe he gets a good getaway, maybe gets into a third position, then maybe slows down other cars. Signs as well would be interesting to see him up there. So those 2 are definitely dark horses, especially Alonso being 5th. You know, he's a wily old fox when it comes to positioning his car in the right places and making sure that he gets his car in a good position. Especially, he knows more than anything the importance of a good first lap and a good start. So it'll be interesting to see him up there and what happens. So, but yeah, first 3: Oscar, Max, Lando. George will be 4th, and then dark horses Alonso.
Alonso's had a good race. He's had a good qualifiers. Williams are having good qualifiers.
Yeah, Aston Martin and Williams have been solid. I said they've been quicker than Ferrari.
Carlos Sainz has a good chance of finishing in the top 5. I think he has a very, very good chance of finishing in the top 5.
Definitely.
Unfortunately, Kimi, I don't remember him finishing top 10 in Q3. I don't think he was there in top 10, right? Kimi was not there.
Oh, he was behind both the Ferraris, 13th. So he had a bad quali.
So yeah, Ferrari and Kimi had not a good qualifiers for me because I like Kimi and
Yeah.
I want to win Rookie of the Year. So nah, I don't think he's going to finish in the top 10. Actually, no, I'm lying. I think he will finish top 10. I think Ferrari and him will finish top 10. Qualifiers don't determine what your race, what the outcome of the race will be, because drivers can be 20th, and they can still come out on top. So it depends on the circumstances, and it depends on the
Depends on the first lap, really.
yeah.
If you can get past Hadjar, Gasly early on.
Depends on the consequences.
Yeah, if you can get past them 2 early on, if the Ferraris and Kimi can get past Hadjar and Gasly early on, then they'll have good chances to get up in the positions.
I think it'll be like I said. I think you got to give the credit to Alonso. He's finally had a good qualifiers. Finally been in a qualifier where he can actually compete with the top 5 now.
Yeah, with the big boys.
Maybe boys a bit of a threat, but I don't see it. But I think it'll be. I think Carlos Sainz has a good chance to finish top 5. And who's your outsider? Like you said, George Russell outsider.
I think George Russell is within the shout of top 3, so I don't consider him an outsider. I think those 4 are competing. The outsiders for me are the 2 Spaniards, Alonso and Sainz. Those are maybe even an Albon. Albon can be get good race pace as well. So
yeah. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, that's it. The two Williams and I will actually, you know what? I'm gonna put respect on Stroll's name. The Williams and the Aston Martin drivers, they're gonna be issues.
Yeah.
They're gonna be issues. So they'll see because they can work together as well.
I hear you, bro. Honestly, like trust me, it's not something that we should it's not something we should take it lightly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We shouldn't take this lightly because you just never know what could happen.
Yeah, you need to have a good first lap.
The grip needs to be perfect, man. The grip needs to be perfect down the tracks because you know what it is. Like you said about the brakes for Ferrari wasn't good. Verstappen needs to be perfect. Norris needs to be perfect, and Oscar needs to be perfect. You just never know what could happen. You better hope that, in terms of Ferrari finishing top 10, it can happen. But honestly, bro, I think top 3. I said Oscar, Lando, and Max Verstappen, but I said Max number 2, Oscar number 1, and Norris number 3. What was yours again? You said Oscar number 2. You exact same order.
Yeah, same.
And I think George Russell will finish outside, just about outside. I don't think it'll be tight. I think Oscar will run away with it because I think Oscar's just faster. But it'll be tight between 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. Like
definitely.
But I think Oscar
if George can get his nose ahead of keep himself ahead of Lando in the early stages, and maybe even compete with a Max in early stages, then it'll be interesting to see. But I think Oscar, if Oscar gets the right start, he's going to be over there, and they're going to be over there.
Yeah, because I looked at the final sector of Q3, right? And Max Verstappen, Oscar, and Lando Norris couldn't even catch Oscar in terms of just pace. They couldn't beat his time. So
he's just on another level right now.
Yeah, he's gonna run. He's gonna run away with this drivers' championship. Honestly, he might run away with it. You just never know what could happen. Honestly, he might run away with it with the championship. But I'm gonna go with yeah. No, I just think Oscar is gonna run away with this today as well. Like he's gonna completely destroy the he's gonna completely destroy the Emiliano Romano Grand Prix today. He's gonna completely like run away with it today. I don't see Max and Lando getting close. The only way I see it getting close is if his front wing or something gets destroyed, or some part of his car gets destroyed, because his car's on another level right now. Really and truly, his car's on another level right now. So honestly, bro, he's on a rich vein of form. He's probably this is probably one of the best. I think this is probably one of the best rookies, like in terms of entering the F1 scene. This is probably one of the best like debutants ever. This is one of the best, like, in terms of instant impact ever. He's come in straight away. He's already leading the drivers' championship in his second full year.
It's not the best ever. The best ever was Lewis, because Lewis was competing in his first season with McLaren.
I hear it, but in terms of like just like no expectation.
No, there was expectation because he won back-to-back F3 and F2 titles. So there was always expectation. That's why Alpine wanted to keep him, and there was a fiasco with that. He then decided to go to McLaren. But yeah, this is his third season in F1.
But he's with it though.
So in terms of all time, no, I think for me, in my memory, Lewis was the greatest in terms of first season because he was straight away in there.
Right.
But yeah, he is this that his generation's top guy, definitely. Just the generation below the Landos and stuff. So
yeah, no, I hear it. But any last thoughts before you close out?
I expect more from Lando. That's why I want him to get a P1. I need him to win this race.
Sorry, who would you say he won again? Lando,
right? Yeah.
Okay. Cool. But hopefully, you just never know what could happen. I just hope it's a good race for everyone, man. It's a good race. But anyways, people, we're gonna wrap it up here. Like, share, subscribe. Because I'm so close to 250 subs already. Literally 6 subs away, people. Literally 16 of you watching. Subscribe. I subscribe to King as well, please. Subscribe to King before you sub to me, because King needs to get to a new height. I don't know where he is, but I'm sure
17 he's on the way to 20. So if I can get 20, then I'll be happy.
Get him to 30. You might as well get him to 30. He's like, because you can easily get him to 31 right now. 14 of you watching, go to King's channel, sub to his channel. 31 subs by the end of today would be nice. Sub to me, 6 subs if you could. 250 subs would be nice, honestly. Because I'm literally like, my goal is to get to 300 by the end of this month or next month or whatever it is. Because because I'm doing videos every day, I'm doing shows every day. I'm trying to prioritize everyone else's time. Like, for example, King, his time is what, 8 a.m. in the morning there, currently. So like I said, because the F1 is tonight at about it's about in 6 hours. I think the F1 starts in 6 hours, if I'm not mistaken.
2 p.m. UK time for me.
So yeah, we do have to obviously do the preview, and I'll be back tonight, I think, for the NBA game. We're gonna preview the game 7 between the Nuggets and the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah,
because I am definitely excited for that game, bro. And I'm rooting for the Nuggets, man. I'm rooting for the Nuggets because my Celtics are out. Unfortunately, we're out of the playoffs to the Knickerbockers. Fuck them, honestly. But listen, it's gonna be an interesting conference finals. Very interesting conference finals, man. Hopefully, I hope the Nuggets go all the way now. I'm siding with the Nuggets, but listen, Celtics for life, honestly, Celtics for life, and we'll be back we'll be back. But people, we're gonna close out. Sub to King, sub to me. We'll be back up to. We'll be back up to. Sorry, we'll be back tomorrow for the review show tomorrow morning. If you're okay with that, tomorrow morning, just about
I don't think.
tomorrow morning, your time.
No, I don't think I'll be available for that.
Okay, so I think just about. So maybe tonight we'll be back for the review.
Yeah.
Review show tonight. So just after the race, I think just after the Arsenal Newcastle game, we're gonna go live for the NBA to preview the game 7, and we'll do the F1 review. If we can fit it in, we'll do it. But make sure you guys, like I said, do stay tuned and do like the video, sub to the channel as always. You know, because like I said, we all want to get to new heights. So we're out, people. Take care. Peace.